This is revenue marketing raw. No fluff, no vendor pitches. Just the truths your CMO won't say out loud. Featuring Jeff Pedowitz and Dr. Debbie Gagish. Let's go!
We're back for another edition. We are live again. This is episode 44, I think.
I know, it's amazing. And when we started this, I said to myself, Jeff and I, we can talk about anything, everything, all the time. I just never imagined that after this many episodes, number one, we would still feel like we have so much to say. And number two, what we say needs to be fucking heard.
Yes. Can everybody hear that? Because we were just talking about before this episode, like we're getting sad. We feel like we keep saying the same shit over and over. We keep trying to find different ways to say it. And how do we get our point across? How do we get our dear marketers to change their shit?
It really has to start looking at some new behaviors. But I think that the topic that we picked out 8 minutes ago, right before the show, this is what we always do, because we want to keep it fresh. We even draw from a hat, like just keep it mystery. There's really nothing scripted about this. So Jeff, and it's so funny, when we started talking about this, I imagined, a marketer, a salesperson, and a buyer walk into a bar. That's kind of where the story starts, right? That's
right. And the punchline is that no one's talking to each other, right?
Nobody's talking to each other. That's exactly right.
They're all together. So, yeah, I mean, yes, we've been talking about AI and people are deploying agents and marketing's been using it and sales is using it. And now, of course,
it's an exciting time. It's an exciting time to be in marketing and in sales right now. No question about it.
But with all these agents, with all these things being deployed, it's an arms race and people are still talking right past each other, right? So we have marketing.
It's like you've doubled down on not collaborating. And we've always talked about the need for sales and marketing to be aligned. Number one, so marketing can truly make that contribution to revenue. We know that that's the number one contributing factor to marketing success and the understanding of that customer. And so how do you bring all that together? And it's like the more technology we have, the more marketing's running off over here and sales is running off over here. They're not paying attention. And then the bomb that's happening in the middle of all of that is, guess what? The customer is now going to a very different place where you are not to get information about.
Well, no, wait a minute now. Who told the customer they can go out and get their own agents? That ain't right.
Exactly. So let's talk about that, Jeff.
Oh, that our customers actually have a voice that they're trying to exercise on their own under influence. Shocker, Well, look, I mean, as the tech gets increasingly sophisticated, I mean, we saw this back years ago. Remember, Deb, you and I used to do a lot of sales training, and we worked with the sales training methodologies, Miller Hyman and Sandler and all that, and then we started to realize one day that the customers went through sales training too, and they started to recognize the techniques that the vendors were using, and they were calling people out. Like if you started with, "Well, Deb, I understand how you feel," and then the buyer would be like, "Oh, don't give me that feel found bullshit. I've been through that training, right?" This is the same story now, 20 years later, where buyers, they can get this information on their own. They don't need to go to the vendor. They don't need to fill out a form.
Exactly right. So again, 3 people walk into a bar. One is the buyer, and they don't need to go to your website. They don't need to talk to any of your people because they have their own agents going out and finding information that will help them make decisions. So that's one leg of the stool. So you've got buyers running off in this new direction. Now, what directions are the marketing and sales folks running?
Yeah, so you got marketing, which we've talked a lot about. Okay, they're producing content. They're automating their workflows. They're doing, agentic buying assistance, right? They can start buying media. So they have another arm And so they're just cranking out the content,
Cranking it out.
and it's cranking it out. Now you have
And
sales.
99.9% of the content they're cranking out are for humans, not for these buyer agents.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
Right.
And then, of course, you have sales who they've been automating the BDR process, like with Qualified, for example, they're automating their proposal writing and their correspondence. It's getting to the point now where even as good as AI's got, you could really tell, when it was so what's been written by AI and what's not. So, but everyone is trying to automate their own world, and nobody's actually trying.
Fiefdom. That's
yeah.
right.
So sales is bragging, our time to proposal is, reduced, and then we're able to handle 17 times more calls, and we've laid off half of our BDR team. So they're patting themselves on the back, and marketing's like, well, they told us we had to do more with less. So we're producing more content than we have with a half a body because we're using AI for that. And the customer's like, well, fuck both of you, because I don't care what you're doing. I don't even need to talk to y'all. I'm just going to run my own process over here, and I'll let you know, if I buy. I might even not let you know if I go ahead and decide to buy from you. So yeah, that's the world that we're in.
Right. So if I'm the CEO looking at maximizing shareholder value, trying to make money for my shareholders, and we've got this nobody talking to anybody, right? Something has to change, right? Something fundamentally, positively.
Well, you would think something has to change, but I guess if we want to be cynical about it, does it?
Yeah. Well, we don't see it very often because again, it's always this promise of technology. And again, the vendors do a great job of selling it. I was thinking about this the other day. I went back and I looked at all the shit I have bought through TikTok, right? And now you've got people on TikTok going on, this is the shit you should buy. This is the shit,
It's like the modern home shopping network, right?
Like a modern home shopping network, right? And I'm being completely influenced by what I see on TikTok, right? So we have to find a way to have everybody have the conversation around that customer. It always has to come back to the customer. Where are they? And I'll give you another example, Jeff. We were talking about the salesperson and, you got sales patting themselves on the back. But what we're beginning to see now because of these agents that are taking on these BDR roles are when a sales rep does get involved, they are now having to reshape the expectations of the customer, right? Because they've only had this agentic conversation. They haven't had a real conversation around that. So again, I'm the CEO, I'm sitting up here, I'm trying to maximize value, and my marketing team is following the bright and shiny toy. My sales team is following the bright and shiny toy because they've all got goals. They've all got to reach it. We're in a crazy world, and the buyer's way off over here doing something different.
Well, I think you just hit a big part of the problem is that maximizing shareholder value and doing the right thing over the course of time, those are mutually exclusive, right? Because
not always.
Well, but most of the time they are, because if you're a CEO, you might want to do things long term that are strategically important, but then you have to maximize that's
right.
And so you're constantly trading off.
You are.
Short-term metrics.
Completely and totally agree with that.
And marketing and sales are in that same boat, Deb, because even if marketing's not being held responsible for revenue, they're being held responsible for leads many times. And same thing, like, okay, what have you done for me lately? Or what have you done for the pipeline? No, how many, maybe what, 1 out of 10, 1 out of 20? Teams are talking about, okay, so let's talk about where we want to get with our customer relationship over the next 12 months. Like, no one's saying that. They're saying, well, we have to hit our number.
And this is a thread I think we have talked about all year. There is zero breathing space for change. And it will be those organizations that make that breathing space for change that will win in this AI world that we are in, because the change is here. It's coming. And so, and again, it's one of the things, I swear to God, this is one of the things that keeps me up at night when I think about our clients and what they're going through, is they want to do the right thing, but they're so driven by the short term. They're so driven by the right now There is zero breathing space for change, for thinking strategically, for thinking about how might I be collaborating better? How could we be sharing this? How, and again, it's just a theme, that we're seeing. But in the meantime, as we talk about where the buyer is, what marketing is doing, and what sales is doing, what are some short-term actions that we might suggest for folks to take in this conundrum?
Well, again, I think it goes back to legitimately trying to understand the buyer journey, and where they are. And yes, we get it. We're all trying to sell our shit, but
Yeah.
putting that on the back burner for a second, saying, okay, so if my buyer is here, what is the very best thing that we can do for that client? And how now do we leverage our investment in our AI tools to do it at scale? So that wherever our buyer might be, whatever channel they might be in, how do I assist them? How do I build a better relationship with them wherever they're at?
Oh my God. Don't we have a PowerPoint from like 2004 that says exactly that?
Probably.
I think we do. And everybody,
I would start there because
it comes back to the client, right? Every time.
It does. I mean, yes, I get it. Sales is trying to close deals, but you really do have to understand where your buyer is and where they have been. So if you're just jumping in, trying to just sell like you've always sold, when they are armed and ready with intelligence up the yin yang, and they could basically fact check you in real time, even as you're having these conversations.
Yeah.
So what, you don't think that the buyer doesn't have their transcription going too? They don't have their little AI bots listening in on the conversation, telling them what they should be asking, when to call bullshit, when not. So I think we just have to recognize that just because you have AI, that's not anybody's advantage anymore. Just because you have a tool or a widget, it's how you're using it. You actually have to make a genuine effort to build a relationship.
I think that is the first thing. You have to have somebody at an executive level in your company who sees this as an issue and will work toward rectifying that. And again, we see this time again. For example, product marketing. Oh, hell no. Product marketing doesn't talk to anybody. They don't talk to sales. They don't talk to the other parts of marketing. They've got their numbers. They got their products. They're gonna, it's just another example. So the first thing that has to happen is that there has to be more collaboration. That's absolutely true. And again, we live in the world of AI, and one of the great promises of that is this shared intelligence, right? And again, I think this, and we've been talking about this for over 2 years now, the ability for AI to gather and share intelligence so that, number one, it's common, everybody's got the same picture, and number two, so that it's up to date, it's recent, it's the most recent thing that you can take action on. So number one, it has to start with some kind of way to, number one, want to be collaborative and understand the value of that, but number two, a way to share customer intelligence. How do you do that, right? So
yes, there has to be more intentionality.
Right?
3, we talk a lot about shared goals to drive shared behavior. So I think AI needs to be a revenue metric, a revenue visibility. How is the company using AI to drive revenue? And then having marketing and sales work together towards that versus, I'm not saying that some of the other things that companies aren't trying to do with AI aren't important, whether if you're trying to get more effective and more efficient and do these and increase productivity, yes. But if you truly want the teams working together towards a shared outcome, I think AI revenue impact has to be one.
So let's talk about that, because that is not something that we've spent a lot of time on. And it's a really interesting topic, AI visibility, AI revenue. What does that mean? Let's break that down, Jeff.
Okay. Well, I think first of all, instead of just having a litany of AI pilots scattered across the company and the enterprise, most of them are not going anywhere. It's sitting down and saying, okay, we're going to start intentionally using AI for our pipeline, for revenue retention and growth, and for net new. Now, let's identify the use cases where and how we're using AI in these processes, and we need to develop some processes that tag it, measure it, and we're going to define what the contributing number is. So that could be in several different ways. It could be as simple as, let's start like with any other source attribution, with deals that are coming in, referral from an LLM or an AI referral, how and where are they showing up in
right. So, I mean, we're still talking about measuring revenue related events. It's just that now it's being driven specifically by AI, right?
Well, yeah, but I mean,
or are you thinking something different?
Well, it's all parts of the equation, right? So look, let's just even take, so many sales teams now are racing to replace their BDRs with Qualified and some of these other, platforms. Okay, well, yes, it's easy to measure the cost savings. Now let's measure the pipeline lift, right? So,
I get that, totally.
that would be another one.
Yeah. I mean, I get that totally. So again, we think about all the typical revenue events, and again, for me, I always think that not enough value is given to before it's considered revenue, right? Like,
right.
The early funnel, mid-stage funnel, all of that. I mean, nobody wants to pay attention to that, right? And it, for a lot of people, it doesn't become revenue related until it becomes an opportunity, even if it has 0% no close, right? So I don't want to get into that, but what I do want to get into, and this was a comment that you made, is that I think you called it AI visibility as a revenue metric.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
So I think it's a couple of things. I think one, where are you using AI, right, internally within the system as part of the revenue function? I think it's AI visibility of where and how are my buyers using AI and how are they showing up, right? So I'm tracking referrals, right? I'm tracking when and how they're using it. So I'm trying to understand if AI is increasingly becoming more intertwined with the entire customer buying experience, visibility is where and how is AI showing up from the customer side and where is it showing up from our side?
Right. So for example, if we used to, well, again, I'm still a little confused over how it shows up on our side because, well,
that's why I was trying to show some examples, with the BDR one, or take a simple one. Okay, marketing uses AI to produce a piece of content. Okay,
got it.
Now that content gets tagged as it always does, and then where is that content showing up in consumption and influence, right? So that's an easy one, right?
But the big idea is to stop using AI to do more with less and start using AI to drive revenue specifically, right? Take a look at your funnel, take a look at your customer life cycle and say, where can AI help speed up, improve these parts of the journey so that
from a metaphor, how like a lot of people, they have like a map in their house and they put thumbtacks on it for the places they visited, like around the country or the world, right? So imagine this map is your entire customer experience, and you start putting in one color for where your customer is using AI and what they need, and then you put in a different color for where we're using, AI, and you start to see where the pins clustering. Where we don't have enough AI, where are the gaps, right? And that's, you sort of start to say, okay, if we were to use AI here, how can we use it better to line up with what our customers are doing at that phase? That's how I would start thinking about it. There has to be intentionality behind how you're going to use AI specifically to start uniting it. And it does need a conversation.
I agree.
You can't, especially as AI automates more and more of this, you can't do this in a vacuum, because you're going to just be more at odds. Now, for those companies that already have, and if you already have e-commerce set up and customers can buy from you, it's going to get to a point where they don't have to come to your site to check out through your e-commerce cart. They can just buy through one of the large language models. So that's another version of AI visibility within the revenue function.
I was thinking about back in the day, we would go into an organization and we would say, okay, we're gonna map the customer journey, right? And we're gonna see what marketing does in that customer journey, and we're gonna see what sales does in that customer journey, what their roles and responsibilities are. But then the next layer down is, how does technology enable all of this, right? So if you were just to back up and do that exercise from, okay, this is the customer journey, here's marketing's role, here's the sales role, here's what we're responsible for, how can AI, that's all you would have to do, right?
Well, at least to get started, right?
Except for now, you can't do that in a vacuum. You've got to think about where the customer is learning about you as well. And again, the customer has a problem. They want to go find a solution. They're going to go to someplace very different. They're going to go to ChatGPT. They're going to go to places where you are not, right? And how they get educated along their journey, they'll be going to different places as well, right? But that seems like a practical approach, right?
Those are some of the basic building blocks, yes. But then I think what really most people are really missing is how to strategically use AI to create new states of being, new ways to interact and create dynamic relationships. I mean, I think you and I talked about this on one of the episodes, like about the chess and about how now grandmasters plus AI are playing each other, and they're elevating chess to a whole new level because they're creating strategies. If this game's been played for thousands of years, and now they're finding it. So I think it's the same thing here, right? Like, start there, but all of you guys have an opportunity to completely rethink how you can dynamically exchange information with your customers and elevate the knowledge and the discourse to a whole new level that previously wasn't even achievable. So you got to have at least a base rudimentary layer of AI running through your business and doing some of the right things. But then there's this massive upside to strategically use this powerful technology in ways that were not possible before. Right. And to me, Deb, that's really where the real magic comes in. Not using AI to automate the relationship, not using AI to automate the processes, which,
but to re-envision the work, the relationship, the experience, right? And this is where I come back to, I see this, tell me, I think I see this in 100% of everybody that we work with. There's zero breathing room for that kind of innovation.
No, because they're so busy running on the fucking hamster wheel, like, we got to do more with less. We got to run more. That's right. Still got to get the leads in. And, it's sad. It's just really sad that, this is one of the greatest breakthroughs in you and my lifetime. And we're still treating it like just another round of MarTech.
Yes, we are.
In most cases.
I would agree with that. With that.
So, I think it's just the bolder CMOs and the bolder revenue leaders saying, you know what, I'm going to intentionally carve out time for this. I'm going to try and break the mold and do something different.
And it's going to be the bolder organizations, right? So this is going to be a CEO, top down kind of thing. And, like we always do in the history of technology, it's going to be the smaller, more agile organizations that can do that. So to your point, one person will be able to run $1 billion company.
Look, if you're just using AI to automate your current processes and your current ways of communicating with your customers, why? Let me give you another stupid example. Okay, you do a net promoter survey because you want to track your customer satisfaction. So you just have AI take over the surveys. So AI is now sending out the same survey and then measuring it the same way. Okay, sure, that might be saving 2 people on your team's time, but what about all the 17 other data points that you could capture about whether the customer is happy, both inside or outside your organization, and you can completely change what it means to have a net promoter score versus asking just that one question. So that's just not it's rethinking and reimagining.
It is
how you can actually do things versus just doing the same shit faster, and doing more with less. Now, sure, there is some of that. Yes. I think there's some table stakes there. And yes, AI can help you become more efficient and productive. But then after that, then what? right?
Right.
Like,
All right. So to sum up, a marketer, a salesperson, and a buyer walk into a bar.
and get
And
drunk
I
together.
think they need to get, I think they need to get very drunk and sit under the table to reimagine their world and collaborate.
Yes. And then I think the other thing that you have to ask yourself, whether you did go into that bar or not, like, what did my buyer find about me when they went and used AI? And be ready to embrace the skeletons, right? You know, like nobody wants to talk about bad shit that's in their closet. But
That's true.
You,
That's true.
You know,
So
but,
Jeff, I'm trying to bring us to a summation point, and you got another.
Oh, I
great
want to keep
point.
going, girl. I'm like,
I know. I keep feeling that you're like, really, really into this. And maybe I would love to have a couple of sessions just straight up on sales. I recently did a podcast with Corporate Visions. And, what's happening in the sales world with AI. We could do something just specifically around sales as well. I think that would be a great thing to do. And also customer service, right? Let's not forget about our customer
those are
success
important
teams.
too, absolutely.
And
But
what
yeah,
they're
let's leave it at the
experiencing
bar
as well.
for now. Because,
Okay.
what better way?
They're under a table. They're like 4 martinis in, and baby, they are redoing the world.
Love it. All right. Until next week, I'm Jeff.
I'm Debbie. We'll see you guys later.
Bye.